Hey, this is Thunder. I thought I'd grovel with the masses today. Um, Descend down into a two duality. I do that sometimes, my warrior side, my native side. See, I got the native and then the Taoist. They go together well because yin and yang, and what can I say? But I thought I would comment today on a few things. And when I comment, I want you to keep in mind that you have to comment. You can't lose sight of the fact that this is the Tao and the 10,000 things. Okay, and you have to look at it with detachment and almost humor. I think humor would be a good way to look at some of the things happening in the world because it's so friggin' ridiculous that it's humorous. I mean, it certainly is, Ollie. Uh, like this morning, I was in the buffet hall, the breakfast hall, and they got this big TV in there. And you walk in, you get your breakfast, and sit down at a table, and this big TV's blaring, wall to wall TV. First thing I saw was a bunch of guys in orange suits knelt down with a bunch of guys in black suits um, with swords ready to behead these people. Christians? I don't know. Uh, think about this. Think about how many people this government is killing on camera, okay? Or at least if they're not killing them on camera, they're making a little scene or a little movie scene. Not much difference in the minds of people that don't know the friggin' difference, okay? Here they are parading these people out there in this gore. It's like a gory movie, okay? And people like, it's funny. It's really hilarious because, and you're going, what's so hilarious about people being beheaded? Well, because they're making a big show out of it. It's all an illusion. It's all an act. It's all an act. And you can tell, like, for instance, on one of the X-22 reports, he does Photoshop, but he includes real pictures, and they had a real picture of these guys that supposedly are ISIS. And it was hilarious because on the right hand side you had a guy that had his Levi's torn in the exact same spot on both sides, with his knees showing, like, hello? That never happens. I mean, come on. And no strings in there where where it wears away or anything. And then the other guy had on a pair of gray pants and Nikes, and the gray pants looked like they just came off of Amazon. And then he had this, looked like a battle pack hanging from him, but it was hanging from him just like, hey, put this over your neck and let it hang there. And we'll take a picture of you. And of course, all their masks are always crystal clean, pure, brand new, look like they came from some sporting goods store. um, if you remember back in the old days, the terrorists, they didn't look like that. Hello? And then the beheadings, well, they might have been real back then because there was only a few of them. They didn't happen every week. Let's see, this is Friday, it's time for beheading, or it's been a whole week. We can't let a whole week go by without some kind of gory display. If people buy this shit, if they really believe this shit, they can't for too long. That's all I gotta say, is at some point they're gonna, like, scratch their head and go, what's going on here? I can't believe that people, well, yes, I can. But it just amazes me, let me put it that way, that people look at these little puppet scenes and go, oh yeah, that's real, man. and they look at these scenes that are happening around the world and they go, oh yeah, that's real. We have to believe everything we see. Pretty sad. And you know, pretty soon, I don't know if Thunder's going to be able to be out here, or anybody for that matter, with the things that they have going on the internet, censorship of the internet. Now, I talked about this stuff, if you guys remember, long before this came in. I talked about this videos and videos and videos ago about censorship, okay, and how the internet's not going to be here. And I just said, I don't know what form it's going to take. I said back then, I don't know how it's going to, well, now we see how it's happening. Out of a clear blue sky, all of a sudden we got this FCC getting involved. Okay, like the internet's a broadcasting network. It isn't. It's for the people, okay? And they're going to make it look like it's still for the people, only they're going to come in with their super tentacle control and wipe out anything that has anything to do with disagreeing with them. And so Thunder might not be out here. A lot of people might not be out here. Greg Hunter, Fabian for Liberty. I can go on and on and on about the people that are going to disappear. Maybe I'll be here. Maybe I'll slip through the radar. I don't know. But the thing that you got to keep in your mind is that this is going down. And when this goes down, there's no more. This is like the last bastion of freedom, the internet. Got news for you. It's like our communication network. They've made it our communication network purposely so they could shut it down, so that we get dependent on it and get dependent on our cell phones and get dependent on everything and get dependent on talking to people, and then that'll be part of the shock thing, see? Because it's going to be a shock for you to go on the internet one day and realize that you can't comment or you can't watch Thunder because he's really like, it takes forever to load up Thunder or YouTube, or certain channels on YouTube don't load up like other channels, and it's coming. It's going to be here soon. So, get ready. Get ready to not be able to listen to Thunder or anybody else, or go anywhere, or listen to any YouTube videos or anything for real information. So where do you get the real information then? You don't. They're effectively stifling all communications, just like when one junta or revolutionary force or whatever goes into a country, just like when Castro went in and invaded Cuba and took down the ruling, what is it, Batista? Is that who it was? He took them down, and what's the first thing they do? They go into a radio station, or the local radio stations that tell people the truth or what they've been used to hearing, and then that goes down, baby. That goes down. There is no more radio station. And so this is the world's radio station. You get me here? So you need to pass this video around and like it and do all that stuff. Because Thunder was on to this a long, long time ago. Long time ago. I foretold it. I saw it coming. I saw it way, way back on Facebook. Okay, I saw before the NSA thing even. You can check and see. I mean, I'm not BSing you. I see things. I see what's going to happen. And this is like it's going to happen. It's happening. It won't happen, boom, all at once maybe, but it'll just start trickling in. You won't be able to watch this. You won't be able to watch that. And next thing you know, they'll have their little cartoon characters of the Al-Qaeda people cutting off their heads. Think of the people they have killed with this act. Think of the people that they have armed Think of the people that they have killed. Think of the people that they have traumatized with fear and manipulation. It's criminal. Now let me just say something about this internet thing. It's a violation of the First Amendment, okay? Freedom of speech. The internet wasn't set up as a broadcasting station. It was set up as a free means of communication for people around the world, just like everybody had a ham radio or something and could talk to each other. Then slowly all this stuff started seeping in, and the powers to be bought up things like Google and YouTube, and all that changed. I saw it change. You people saw it change. When you first went on YouTube, you could put anything on there. There wasn't even copyright restrictions or anything. That's when it started creeping in. When you'd put a video on and all of a sudden they go, oh, there's some copyright infringement here. Well, it was like, I used to get those things, even though I knew a woman that was a flute player that did a video for me. And it was her flute playing, and she's got an album out, and she's well known, Diane Arkenstone. And I had full permission from her, and when I put that video up, they said, this is a copyright infringement. Do you have permission? And I put, yes, I do. And they still didn't recognize that I had permission. So I knew right back then that what was coming down the road, and this was back, I'd say 2010 maybe. So you have to get ready to be weaned off the tit, okay, of Mother Internet. It's basically what it amounts to. You're going to have to, I suggest, and that's why I formed the CAMPFIRE Council, which is a kind of a sacred organization where the links are below, but I suggested that people form and band up, and we have a religious sacred society that we might be able to bypass that somehow but it's freedom of speech, people. It's the First Amendment. It's gone. It's gone. So when I said the other day that we live in a Nazi state, you just have to accept that, and that we live in a totalitarian state, and we have to find ways to circumvent, I meant it. I'm dead serious. Excuse me. I'm dead serious about this. Communication is important, okay? And dissemination of information that is not controlled by media organizations or broadcasting networks or the government. It's essential to the revolution. It's essential, and they know that. See, and I'm talking about, it can be a revolution in thinking or a revolution, a physical revolution. It's essential that there's communication. And they know that. You think they're stupid? They know that, and so they're going to take it out because that's the last form. And when you get right down to it, the internet's been used around the world in different organizations to organize, like in protests in Greece and everywhere. So this is going to happen. The World Wide Web is going to be frozen, baby. It's going to be frozen. You're going to be out in the cold. So get ready. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about, that I'm groveling down here in the duality, you know, it's kind of comical, you know, this whole, I've been watching the Putin thing. That's the only thing really worth watching. This ISIS thing, you just know it's so ridiculous, and you know it's their army that they deploy around the world, and they just hire mercenaries and go in there, and They set up little shows, and everybody's totally buying into the scam, the big bad terrorist scam. But Putin, he made this, I think it was today, or I don't know what day, whatever day that they went into Crimea and they had the elections in there, he made this polite person day. That's hilarious. You know what that means? The polite people would, when they had the voting in Crimea to go with Russia, they had little green men that were called polite people that were standing around, and they said they were Russian soldiers. Well, they probably were. They probably were Russian soldiers. I hope they were. You know, a lot of people say Russia's not involved they're not helping out the rebels. Well, I hope to God they are. How's that? I hope to God that they are filtering people in there, and that they are helping the rebels, and that they've been helping all along, because this is, excuse me, must have been that coffee. This is ridiculous. To think that they don't have help, or okay, so we want to think that everybody's squeaky clean, but I'm glad if the Russians go in there. I'm glad if they're sending in hidden soldiers or mercenaries or whatever, if they're doing that in South, and advisors, because isn't the West doing it? And haven't they been doing it? So it wouldn't be a fair game, wouldn't be a fair chess match when you think about it, if Russia didn't have those people's back somehow. Now, if they don't, they're going to have it all of a sudden. It'll come like a bolt of lightning, okay? And I talked about this too, okay? This is something else that I talked about. I talked about this whole deal that happened in Ukraine. I knew right from the get-go what was going down. I said it was a proxy war. And it was actually World War III. And we are seeing the beginnings of, there's no let up by the West. I don't care what happens. I mean, the rebels pull back their troops. They pull back some armaments, but they took that town. Okay, and they're not finished. Okay, and Kiev has done nothing, but they were slower in withdrawing their troops than the rebels were, and it's just continuous propaganda. It's continuous propaganda over and over and over again. That's what you see. That's why I said it's not the news, it's the old. It's the same old thing every day, continuous propaganda against the Ukrainian freedom fighters. So this is all the little kabuki dance we're watching right now, and we gotta take a detached view, but at the same time be aware and compassionate and loving. And that means for one another, because this is getting right down to our communication with one another. Communication is going down, people. That's the first thing they do, you know, and they started a long time ago in a subtle manner, but now it's not subtle anymore. It's right in your face. We're signing bills, legislation, FCC, all this stuff coming out. So if people are going to band together or rise up or do whatever they're going to, they better do it real friggin' quick here. Because once you cripple an army's communications, what happens to the army? And this is like an army, the army of the people of the earth, connecting through a free communications network. Hell, you can even call people on Gmail. You can call them free. I do it all the time. And you send email letters. But when all that goes down, and it's not going to go down. It's going to filter down, okay, slowly. You're going to see this diminishing of service. And here you're paying for the internet, people. Let's get this straight. You pay to go on the internet big time. I do. High-speed internet. High-speed bullshit coming at you live and in living color. That's what you can expect for your whatever you're paying. High-speed bullshit coming at you in living color on the internet. All new, revised, renovated. New stuff that you can play with, though. They'll have all kinds of little things that'll keep people distracted. Oh, look at this. This is new, honey. It's a game. Look at what we have here. They'll turn the internet into a big pinball game. They'll turn the internet into a big game, Xbox, whatever. There won't be people like me on here talking from their heart anymore. Let's get that straight. There won't be people like me on here anymore. That'll be like ancient history. Remember when Thunder used to come on and talk to us? Or remember when we could go to... Now, some of these guys will stay on because they'll sell out underneath the table. I'm not sure of some of these people that call themselves alternative media. They'll sell out. They'll start going more with the main line of thinking, the mainstream of thinking, just so they can stay on the internet. Okay, I'm not going to say anybody in particular, but that's what you'll see. You'll see a sellout, a massive sellout of truth. A sellout of truth on the internet, just so they can stay on. We'll see how it goes. But as long as we do have it, I'll try to get as many videos on here as I can. But, I don't even know if that's going to do any good, because they'll just take channels down and destroy all their previous videos. They'll destroy the archives, you see. It's like the burning of the books. Okay, the internet going down is akin to what they did in Nazi Germany, when they took all the books out of the libraries and piled them into a big heap, pour gasoline on it, and burn them. Of course, they didn't have the internet back then in World War II, but that's what they did. Now this is the same thing, people. It's like the huge library at Alexandria, where they destroyed all kinds of ancient history and secrets and everything. Lost forever to mankind, about civilizations that existed a long time ago, how they thought, some of the discoveries. There was stuff in there they didn't want people to see, so that was destroyed. When you think about it, it's the burning of the books on the internet. It's all a book, it's all a chapter, it's all history, and even stuff like Wikipedia history, they can rewrite that. They'll take that off, they'll just put in there with it. This is like the sci-fi movies you saw back in the 50s and 60s, Logan's Run, and that was a great one. Foretold George Orwell's 1984, and all of this stuff that you saw that you just went, whoa, that's just too weird, man. sanitized everything, cameras everywhere, people in suits. Guess what? It's coming to a theater near you. It's there already. Wake up and look around. This is just information so that you'll know. Not that so you'll get freaked out, or I still want you to try to keep that Taoist attitude of non-attachment to it all. Who do you have really? When you really boil things right down, do you have friends? Do you have yourself as your best friend and your spirit? And the connection to the Tao and the way. So no matter what happens, you're going to have to just, at this point, watch for the flip-flop, hope that things work out for the best. But the young people, man, they really, really got to be made aware, and we've got to educate new shamans and shamanesses, men and women. We have to pass the mantle on to them so that this isn't lost, okay? When I'm gone and other wisdom keepers are gone, we have to pass the mantle now. And I'm reaching out to certain people behind the scenes and making connections and trying to pass my knowledge on to some younger people. They're the hope, really. They're the ones that are like, they're not stupid. They're very intelligent. Some of them speak 3 languages. They're beautiful. But it ain't going to do any good unless they get the information and the intelligence and the spiritual understanding to carry on the mantle of tradition, sacred tradition. They're burning the books and destroying sacred tradition. A lot of people aren't even aware of sacred tradition. A lot of people aren't aware of books even. A real book that you can hold in your hand, as opposed to, you know, they're controlling that aspect too. I know a lot of authors, me being an author, an award-winning author that had a book out, has several books out actually right now. They're trying to change everything into e-books. So this fits right in with their agenda of, if everything's on an e-book, it can just be, it doesn't have to be burned, it can just be deleted. Just like you can create money on a computer and delete money, you can delete history, you can delete books, and they want everything in book that's in book form. They don't want the little pocket. So I'm buying as much of those as I can. They don't want the little pocket books, paperbacks, you know, that you read in bed at night. Go, this is relaxing. It's not the beginning of the end, it's the end. It's the end. When they've gotten this far, unless people do something about it, until it's the end, until whatever apocalyptic event happens and comes and wipes out even the bad guys, and it starts all over again. Like I said, we have front row seats, people. I think that the people that, now I'll talk to the people on the Campfire Council, I really think that we need to get each other's phone numbers and we need to connect. Don't know what a lot of good phone numbers will do if they take down the cell phones, though. But we can try, okay? All we can do is try. You have to circumvent, you have to plan, just like the French resistance in World War II, only this is an enemy that is so devious and so low down and so manipulative that it's going to be real interesting. It's going to be real interesting, people. So I hope that you gravitate towards your spirituality and that you hook up with people right now while you can, just for solace. And hell, I know I get people writing me all the time that say, you really, it's, even though I don't get that many views, the people that I do are very important to me. The people that somehow catch the wind into Thunder's domain and experience what I'm saying and have been listening. And I'm telling you, I'm not beating my own drum here. I saw this stuff back when I wrote my book, Listen to the Wind Speak from the Heart. I saw it when I was a kid, if you really want to know the truth about it. I just was hoping I'd never really have to. You hope for the best, you know? You don't want to experience what you see coming down the road. But if we're non-attached, spiritually, that's why I keep preaching this Taoist thought. Just so that when this ain't here anymore, you'll have something to grasp onto or something to think about. I'd buy every book you could get your hands on, Taoist books. Some of the books I've mentioned. I might do a book list here of things that I think you should have. But I think you should have my books, and I think you should have the Tao Te Ching and the Hua Hu King and the I Ching and the Bible and Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah, Illusions by Richard Bach, and Soul Sword by Vernon Katabu Turner, and Lame Deer, Seeker of Visions, and Fool's Crow, The Sacred Pipe by Black Elk. All those books, when Black Elk Speaks, and The Lakota Way by Joseph Marshall III, and Crazy Horse by the same author, and I could go on and on and on. The Hopi People by Frank Waters. These are treasured books. I've read every one. I've memorized every one practically. I've taken it into my heart. Okay. So people, just be aware that Thunder has reverence for all you people and loves you all. And my heart goes out to you, really, and to myself included, for what's coming down the road here. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you except keep the faith and keep love and keep everything. Let's try to keep everything going here for as long as we can, but it's a dire situation, okay, as far as like living in duality. Sometimes it's hard to detach when it gets so dire that that it's going to affect your emotional stability and your friends and your companionship and even your family. I mean, people might not even be able to connect with family. But this is my family. And if I can't connect with you guys, then what's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of life? If they do book burnings and internet burnings, anyway, let's leave it there. I'm going to walk the red road now, right on off into wherever. And until I talk to you again, which will hopefully be soon, and things are moving quick though, people. You'll you'll be going to places and not be able to get on and everything real quick here, or the internet could go down. I said that before too. If people do catch on to what's going on and start rising up, and which I doubt seriously, but if they do, then the whole internet will just go down. It'll get hacked into and blamed on the Russians or some other people. Oh, before I go though, that Putin polite person day was like a stick in the eye to the West. If you ask me, this is just my personal opinion, but I do believe they had little green men in there in Crimea when they were voting, and it was noted that they were there. And if they were Russians, I think it's cool because they were just keeping an eye on things to make sure they weren't forcing anybody. They were polite, and that's what Putin is trying to make the point of. That those people were polite, they weren't coercing anybody. Okay, so he made this polite person day, this day, I don't know if it's now or next week or whatever, but it was on the same day that they voted in Crimea. Okay, think about that. They accused him of having Russian troops in there, and they were disguised as polite men in green suits, and Putin comes out with this polite person day. That's hilarious. It's like that's like him sticking the finger in the West. I see, I did it, so what? And I guarantee you, I hope many people are going to say, well, Russia isn't involved in the bullshit. Bullshit. They're involved somewhere behind the scenes or filtering in guys a little bit at a time with those convoy trucks or whatever. That doesn't make them bad. In my eyes, that makes them smart, because they know they know their enemy. They know what's going on the other side. They know that Kiev is smuggling in mercenaries from the West, and they know that there's support from the West, and they know that there's lethal weapons from the West. So why do you think Putin is so friggin' stupid that he wouldn't send in support in some way, shape, or form? No way. And I'm glad he is. I hope he does. It's not like blatantly like they say, look at all the tanks rolling in and all that stuff, the silly shit that they've been saying about Putin. Here's pictures of tanks in blurry black and white and all that stuff. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there's deep infiltration beneath the surface by Putin with special forces, hopefully. Advisors, whatever. He's trying to avoid, he would rather do it that way than just have to go in there on a scorched earth policy and just take out these assholes. Think about it. Anyway, this is Thunder. I'm going to leave it there today. I think this is a good video. I think you should pass it around. I'm going to call this, are they burning the books again? Yeah, they are. Walk the red road, people. Thunder, over and out.